Between the dusty pages of history and the sacred scriptures of Judaism and Christianity lies the chronicle of a land filled with promises, conflicts, and redemption. This is the land of Canaan, the stage for countless battles, miracles, and the birth of a nation that would influence the world to this day. Israel, in this chapter of the vast biblical history, explores a turbulent and formative period like the era of the Judges, a time without a king, where leaders emerged in moments of need, guiding their people through challenges and wars, keeping the flame of faith and independence alive. It is here in the book of Judges that we find the story of Othniel, the first of these leaders, whose courage and faith elevated him from obscurity to hero status. But who was Othniel, and why does his message resonate through the centuries, remaining relevant to us today? Othniel, also spelled Othniel in some Bible translations, was one of the judges of Israel. In this documentary, we delve deeply into the life of Othniel, exploring his heritage, his achievements, and the legacy he left for future generations. We will uncover the biblical details of his mission, historical curiosities about his time, and the theories surrounding his story. Additionally, we will see how his story intertwines with the beliefs and culture of his people, revealing lessons that transcend time. Join us on this journey into the past as we unravel the mysteries of Othniel, the first judge of Israel, and discover why he remains a somewhat forgotten hero of the Bible, whose story still echoes in our hearts and minds. In the annals of biblical history, amid wars and spiritual challenges, emerges the figure of Othniel, the first judge of Israel. But to truly understand his significance, we must first delve into who he was and where he came from. Othniel was the son of Kenaz, making him the nephew of Caleb, one of the two spies who brought back a favorable report about the Promised Land. This family connection not only placed Othniel among the nobility of his people, but also directly linked him to the generation that witnessed divine miracles during the Exodus from Egypt. Othniel's relationship with Caleb was solidified through valor and courage. Caleb promised his daughter Achsah in marriage to whoever conquered Kiriath Sefer, also known as Debir. Othniel, driven by faith and determination, emerged victorious, gaining not only Achsah's hand, but also a place of honor among his people. But what does the name Othniel mean in Hebrew? His name can be interpreted as strength of God or lion of God. This prophetic name not only foreshadowed Othniel's role as a liberator of Israel, but also reflected his dependence and faith in divine power, essential characteristics for a leader in times of turmoil. Othniel's story speaks of overcoming faith and leadership in an era where law and order were maintained not by kings or rulers, but by chosen judges. Othniel stands out as the first among them. His rise from a bold warrior to an inspiring leader of Israel is a testament to his courage, wisdom, and, above all, his unwavering faith. However, the true greatness of Othniel does not lie solely in his battlefield victories. It lies in his character, his ability to lead with justice in times of peace, and his capacity to inspire faith in a people surrounded by uncertainties. As we uncover more about his life, the lasting impact of his actions on the shaping of Israel's nation becomes evident. To grasp the magnitude of Othniel's achievements, we must first immerse ourselves in the turbulent and fragmented period known as the era of the Judges. This was a time of great challenges and changes for the people of Israel, an interval between the conquest of Canaan and the rise of the monarchy under Saul and David. After the conquest of the Promised Land, Israel did not unite under a centralized government, but split into tribes inhabiting distinct territories. Without a king or centralized leadership, these tribes often faced threats from within and without. It was in this scenario of instability that judges emerged, charismatic leaders chosen to guide and defend Israel. The narrative of the era of the Judges is marked by a repetitive cycle. The people of Israel strayed from their faith, following foreign gods, leading to oppression by neighboring nations. Amid suffering, they repented and cried out for salvation. God then raised up a judge to deliver them and restore peace until the cycle began anew. Othniel emerges as the first of these liberating figures, confronting a world where faith and loyalty were constantly tested. His challenge was not only military, but also spiritual, guiding the people back to the paths of their faith. Othniel's first major test came in the form of the oppression by Cushan-Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia. Israel, having strayed from its ways, found itself under the yoke of a foreign oppressor. It was Othniel, with the strength granted by God, who rose up to liberate his people, bringing 40 years of peace to Israel. Othniel's leadership during these challenging times highlights not only his ability as a warrior and strategist, but also his role as a restorer of faith and justice. His story is a powerful reminder of the ability to lead in times of crisis and the importance of faith and perseverance in the face of adversity. After emerging victorious over Cushan-Rishathaim, Othniel not only liberated Israel from oppression, but also ushered in a period of peace that lasted 40 years. This legacy of peace and leadership deeply reflects in the narrative of his life and Israel's subsequent history. Under Othniel's leadership, Israel experienced an unprecedented era of stability. Peace allowed the tribes to focus on rebuilding their communities, strengthening their traditions, and reaffirming their faith. This was a time to heal the wounds of war and strengthen the bonds that united the people of Israel. As the first judge of Israel, Othniel set a precedent for the leaders who would come after him. His government was not based on monarchical authority, but on justice and faith. He personified the ideal of the servant leader, whose strength came not from his power, but from his relationship with God and his people. Othniel embodied these ideals, standing out as a hero, not only for his time, but for all generations that followed. By exploring Othniel's life, we are reminded of the importance of leaders committed to lofty principles, who seek not only military victory, but lasting peace and justice for their people. Othniel's legacy continues to inspire us to seek what is right, to uphold truth, and to trust in divine power to guide our paths. The true greatness of Othniel does not lie solely in his battlefield victories. It resides in his character, his ability to lead with justice in times of peace, and his capacity to inspire faith in a people surrounded by uncertainties. As we uncover more about his life, the lasting impact of his actions on the formation of the nation of Israel becomes evident. Othniel embodied these ideals, standing out as a hero not only for his time, but for all generations that followed. By exploring Othniel's life, we are reminded of the importance of leaders committed to lofty principles, who seek not only military victory, but lasting peace and justice for their people. Othniel's legacy continues to inspire us to seek what is right, to uphold truth, and to trust in divine power to guide our paths. The story of Othniel, although it is a narrative of faith and leadership, is also shrouded in mysteries and speculations. As we delve into historical curiosities and academic theories, we uncover a fascinating layer of interpretation and debate about this biblical character. The archaeological records from the time of the judges are scarce but fascinating. Although there is no direct evidence confirming the individual existence of Othniel, archaeological discoveries in places like Debir, the ancient Kiriath Sefer, offer a glimpse into life during this tumultuous period. These discoveries help contextualize the biblical stories, providing a historical backdrop that enriches our understanding of the era. Moreover, the process of transmitting biblical stories, which initially relied on oral tradition before being recorded in texts, is a fertile field for academic debate. Experts suggest that the narratives about Othniel and other judges may have been adapted and expanded over time, reflecting the spiritual and political needs of subsequent generations. Academic theories about Othniel vary widely. Some see the judges as essentially mythical figures, ideal representations of leadership and faith. Others, however, argue in favor of their historicity, suggesting they were real tribal leaders whose exploits were amplified by tradition. The truth, as often happens in ancient history, may lie somewhere between these extremes. Regardless of their exact historical existence, the role of the judges, including Othniel, in the biblical narrative is undeniably significant. They serve as pillars of faith, courage, and justice, contributing to the formation of Israel's national identity and cohesion. The traditions surrounding Othniel continue to inspire and teach valuable lessons about leadership and resilience. The search for Othniel in the pages of history and the layers of the earth is a reminder of the fascinating intersection of faith, history, and archaeology. Each discovery and theory offers a new perspective on the ancient narratives, inviting us to broaden our understanding of the past and inspire our path to the future. Although the story of Othniel is firmly rooted in the Judeo-Christian tradition, its impact and the lessons it derives resonate far beyond its original context. Exploring the correlations and influences of his narrative, we discover the universality of themes of faith, leadership, and redemption. Throughout the centuries, the figure of Othniel has inspired artists, writers, and composers, transcending cultural and religious barriers. His exploits and his faith have been depicted in paintings, sculpted in stone, and immortalized in songs and writings, attesting to the power of his story in inspiring human creativity. In contemporary times, the story of Othniel continues to influence religious practice and biblical study. Groups of all denominations reflect on his leadership and faith as examples of how to face challenges with courage and divine trust. His narrative is often cited in sermons and studies as a model of devotion and righteous action. Beyond the Judeo-Christian boundaries, the story of Othniel finds echoes in traditions around the world where similar figures fight for justice, lead with wisdom, and live with unwavering faith. These shared narratives reflect a universal understanding of human values, echoing common themes of moral leadership, sacrifice, and redemption. Theologically, Othniel represents unwavering faith and dependence on God, fundamental principles in the Jewish and Christian traditions. His story is a source of inspiration for those seeking to understand the role of faith in times of adversity and the importance of leadership based on moral and spiritual values. The story of Othniel, with its layers of faith, courage, and leadership, transcends time and space, speaking to all generations and cultures. It reminds us that despite our differences, human struggles share common themes, and that the quest for justice, peace, and redemption is truly universal. May the story of Othniel continue to inspire us to face our challenges with courage, to lead with wisdom, and to live with a faith that moves mountains. Because in the words of the past, we find the light for the future. Throughout our journey through the life and legacy of Othniel, the first judge of Israel, we explore not only the pages of an ancient scripture, but also the echoes of his story that resonate to this day. His narrative, intertwined with themes of faith, leadership, and redemption, transcends the ages, reaching hearts and minds in search of inspiration. Othniel, as a beacon of courage and a pillar of unwavering faith, reminds us of the strength that comes from deep conviction and the leadership that rises on the foundations of justice and compassion. His legacy is a testament to the transformative power of faith and the lasting impact of acting with moral and spiritual principles. Frequent references to the story of Othniel highlight the importance of resilience, ethical leadership, and faith. His example inspires us to face obstacles with dignity, to lead with empathy, and to live a life anchored in values that transcend time and circumstances. As we reflect on Othniel's legacy, we are invited to examine our own path and the marks we leave on the world. May his stories inspire us to seek wisdom, to practice justice, and to live with a faith that, though tested, never fails. May the story of Othniel, the first judge of Israel, continue to illuminate our journeys, reminding us that even in the greatest battles, the light of faith, hope, and love prevails. And so we move forward, inspired by his legacy, guided by the eternal light of principles that remain unchanging through the ages.